Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing? Welcome to Thursdate with Erica. And today, usually we have this earlier in the day, but I'm so excited for you guys to meet Sheree. And she's coming to us live from Alberta. So we're kind of in the same time zone, but because of our schedules, we are doing it a little bit later in the day. But that's okay because I am excited to hear her story. Now, if you're new to the page, thank you so much for following and liking my page. My name is Erica, and I'm a digital business owner and a mom to two wonderful kids. And each week, I come on here and introduce you to a new business owner in my community, somebody that has inspired me and has been a rock star in our community and just are doing amazing. And so today, as I mentioned, we will have Sheree. Let's have her on. Hi, Sheree. How are you doing?
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. I like that intro.
Oh, thank you. So you live in Alberta. You're a little bit more north than I am. I did
Hmm.
post earlier today on my page that we had like amazing show of the Northern Lights, and I'm sure where you are, it was probably even more amazing. Were you able to catch it last night?
I'm an avid Northern Lights watcher. I live right up in High Level for anyone familiar, and I quite often post it on my page. I actually watched it quite early yesterday, like 9:30, and it was pretty good then. It was moving and dancing pretty fast. And then I went to bed because we've had a pretty sick household the last month. So I'm very sleep deprived. So I was like, oh, it possibly will get better. But, it got to bedtime and they died off. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to bed. So I missed a really, really good light show then. But, we do have some pretty good ones up here. They may be good again tonight. So I may venture out a little bit later or set a couple of alarms. We'll see. We'll see.
That's
But I do
awesome.
love them. Very
Yeah,
privileged to see them quite often.
exactly. Well, and whenever I get to, I feel like whenever I chase it out, like I'm like such bad luck and then I don't see anything. And when I actually plan, oh, it's going to be out at this time. Like last night, me and the kids went out and it was around 10 o'clock. And
Mm-hmm.
people were saying online on Facebook that it was out where they were, but we didn't see anything. But when I woke up this morning, I was so happy that they were still out before the sunrise. And so I was able to catch a glimpse right from our backyard. So it was awesome.
Yes, a lot of people got that glimpse at the end. I think the best was between 5 and 7:30 is what I heard. So you probably
Oh.
caught some of the really good stuff. So
Yeah, there were some purples in there. I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is so cool." I was so happy. But yeah.
that's
I remember
awesome. That's good.
the last time we were chatting, like after our chat and our interview, you went out there with your husband to go look at the Northern Lights, so I figured I'd bring that up today.
Yeah, they were actually like phenomenal just before we had that chat. When I went back out, I was a little disappointed, but you miss some good ones, but usually the ones that aren't heavily worded and all of a sudden it'll just surprise you because things change so quickly up there. So you don't know. It's hard to plan for, that's for sure.
Exactly. Well, that's pretty awesome. So I know it was kind of a tangent that we are talking about Northern Lights, and we mentioned that you live in Alberta, but you do
Hmm.
have an accent that is not quite Canadian or Albertan. So do a
I'm
quick
from this.
introduction where you're from
Yeah,
originally.
I'm from Australia. So I've been in Canada the last 10 years, but originally from Australia. I did a lot of moving around Australia to real transient areas like, seasonal jobs, that sort of thing. And it ended up bringing me across to do snow season. So I did a couple back and forth. And then I met my husband at a ski hill. And, the rest is sort of history. So I kind of laid my roots down here now, and we've been married for 5 years now. So yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations. And yeah, I do have some friends that all have also come over here from Australia and kind of done the same thing, right? Like work in the mountains and kind of do the seasonal work visa
Yeah,
and then
that's a
just
good life.
absolutely loved it here. Yeah, exactly. That's best of both worlds, right?
Hmm.
So, how are you liking Canada and Alberta? And kind of give us, a look into life before starting your online business.
For sure. So a little bit more about me. So I have two young kids. Jack is going to be 2 in December, and Sienna is going to be 4.5 exactly on that same day that he turns 2. So
Oh,
um, they're both young and busy, very loud and busy. So keep me on my toes. I've been a stay-at-home mom since they've been born, and it was at the end of my maternity leave with Sienna that we kind of had. Sorry, I've still got a little cough. We kind of had a little look at life and decided ultimately that I wasn't going to go back to work. Before having kids, I've had a whole bunch of different jobs. I'm not a career person per se, but I was working as a bank teller and I was also serving. So we kind of looked at both jobs and decided that it was really difficult to go back to those jobs with my husband. He's a police officer. So it's really hard to juggle that kind of a lifestyle because there's so many unpredictable hours that go with it. You don't know when there's going to be overtime, and you can't really say, "Oh, don't take the overtime," right? Like it's not something you can really dictate. It kind of just happens. So you got to go with the flow a lot. So then to have jobs that are quite structured, I couldn't do. I did do a little bit of serving, just on weekends. But for the most part, I stayed as a stay-at-home mom. So that was really good, though. Ultimately, that's what I wanted to do. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. That's kind of what I knew. I didn't know what a working mom type life was because she didn't go back to work until we were well into high school, I think. So it was kind of what I always wanted to do, and logistically, it just worked out that way. But the thing is, when you are a stay-at-home mom, or when more to the point, when you're doing the life. So basically, our CMP move every 3 to 5 years. So we don't know kind of what the next post may be like in terms of rentals and cost of living and all those kind of things. So where we were, we knew that I could be a stay-at-home mom and we were going to be able to be comfortable, but we didn't know whether that was going to keep going. So that was one of the reasons I did start an online business or a business. I always knew I wanted to have a business, but I didn't really know what sort. And I also needed something else for myself. I was always, like I said, I had this transient lifestyle. Everything was moving and shaking and changing every 6 to 12 months. So that was kind of my whole 20s. And when you're all of a sudden a bit more grounded and you've got all these little kids like depending on you and pulling on you, I love it, but I really lost that side of me. So I needed something else that was just for me, that would make me feel like I was achieving and growing and learning and doing something, and something that was a bit dynamic. And so, like I said, I wasn't really looking. I knew I wanted to do something, but I wasn't looking. I just knew that there was a void. There was something that I needed. And then I stumbled across this, and it just started ticking boxes left, right, and center. I really resonated with the advertisement that I saw. It really matched up with a lot of things happening in my life. I was a couple and he was a firefighter, so also emergency services. She was a nurse at the time when they first started, but then she'd since quit because of the business. And they spoke about high-fiving each other out the door and, taking turns as parents and not being able to, unite as a family very often. And, that really spoke to me because I was like, well, that's our life if I go back to work. So it was really a good drive for me to start my business and grow my business and make sure that it was going to work, because I didn't want to, I didn't want to have to fall back and have to go back to work. We have since moved to a new location, and it was seamless. I have had a Jack since, and I didn't have maternity leave, financial assistance, whatever they call it. So I didn't have any help, and we were still okay. We weren't, struggling or worried or anything like that. So, yeah.
yeah. And that's such a blessing, right? Like that's one stress that you don't have to worry about. And I kind of understand that, right? When you're young and traveling and things are always changing, and then you become a mom. And yes, that lifestyle is amazing and so fulfilling. But at the same time, I get that there's a void. Like there's something that, you're still a woman, you're still a smart human being, and you can do something more, on top of being a mother, and an amazing mother at that, right? And
And it's
so
an
I
escape too, I find. I find that at the end of the day, if I've had a rough day, because, we, as mums, we can admit there are some really rough days, especially when you're with them the whole 14 hours of awake time or whatever it is.
yep.
And, pardon me, got that tickle. And when you've had those days, and I used to just like put on the TV and lose myself in it, that it wasn't enough. And I find that with this business, I can lose myself into another focus instead of just kind of like fading it all out. I can totally redirect my focus once they've gone to bed. And as you said before, we're doing this a bit later tonight, and it's because this is when I do business. I do business once the kids are in bed, because that's when I can focus. That's when I can, really put my full effort in. Otherwise, I've got kids in the background. I can't do interviews with my kids. There's not a chance. My little Jack sweetheart is reaching that terrible twos, and he is as cheeky as they come. And oh my goodness, I wouldn't even want to see what an interview was going to be like with him next to me. So yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting.
Interesting, and it'd be funny, but probably not so much fun for you. Definitely. That's awesome. So you mentioned that when you saw this business, it ticked a bunch of boxes for you. Now, what out of those boxes, what was the change that you are the most grateful for? You think is the biggest change that happened?
One of the main thoughts I had when I first saw the ad, when I was reading it, and I was like, my thought was, if this business works how they said, then I can go and buy myself a pair of jeans without feeling guilty. Like, it's the silliest thing, but I know any mum watching this will totally understand that, because when you start having kids and stuff, you get whatever they need and you don't think twice about it. But when you need more clothes, or when you need whatever, like I can't even tell you how long I went just without a haircut, but the kids need one, in they go straight away. And it's just things like that. You just put yourself last all the time, which is fine. But I just thought, well, if I have my own income coming in as well, and it's not to say that our money isn't our money. He works for our family. This is a decision we made together. But it's really comforting to still, like, it's hard not winning a paycheck when you're used to doing that. And I was fiercely independent and a traveler. So it was such a shift to not have, money coming with my name on it. And so to get that in, and just to know freely that, I can splurge a little bit if I wanted to, and I didn't really have to have that ultimate guilt for it. So, and I still don't, honestly. I still have that difficulty doing it, but it's eased a lot more than what it did. Here's my cat that keeps bugging me. Yes. He always comes and joins me for interviews. But yeah, it's made a real difference. But the other boxes that really ticked and really was, that it was flexible, that you didn't have to, show up at certain times, meet certain quotas, hit certain milestones at certain times, that once you have your business, it is your business, and you can run it when you see fit. When they say, do it anywhere, anytime, it really is like that. So, you can do it on the run if you want, or you can wait until the evening when you're quiet and more focused, or whatever suits your lifestyle. So we have some people doing it full time. We have some people doing it that, work full time, and they just do it, in and around on their lunch break and things like that. And I love that part of it that we design when we do it. And the last thing I love is the automation. And that was another tick box too. Not immediately when I saw the ad, but as soon as I kind of understood how it all worked, because I didn't want to get trapped on my phone all day, trying to talk to people and, show them what it's all about. So because we have a process, because we have a process that does that all for us, it's amazing. Like that was such a golden ticket, basically, because if we have someone doing that for us, we don't have to play repeat and, have a whole speech rehearsed that we have to do. I've had so many phone calls with people trying to, you know, tell me about things or whatever, and they just sound like they're literally recorded. So for us to be able to, you know, say, here's all the information that you need, see what you think, and ask me any questions after you've taken a look. Like, that's so much, definitely something that I love about it.
Exactly. And I think the automation goes in hand with the flexibility, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
of that automation, then we are free to do and schedule how our business how we want. So
Mm-hmm.
if it's a really busy day with the kids, and I know with little kids, like it's busy. You can't be on your phone because you have to be paying attention to them and, you know, helping them out and making sure they're not getting into trouble. And it's the
Yeah.
same, like, even with me, my kids are a little bit older, but you know, I'm pretty much a taxi driver driving them to different activities. And still in between all that, you know, and I do work full time as well, but in between all that, I'm still able to run a successful business. And I just love that, just the same as you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned that you weren't really a career woman. So how did you find transitioning into this business?
Oh, it's right up my alley. Just having that more carefree type, you know, running as you see fit type thing. Because, you know, if pardon me, if I, you know, wasn't feeling whatever job I was doing, I knew that there was an end to contract date, you know, for most of the things I was doing. There was, you know, the snow would only come till whatever month, or, you know, things like that. So, you know, you just grin and bear it and do it. But, you know, not that that's probably not the best way to relate it, but this is something that, as we were saying, is you can freely roam it as you see fit. Like, you can, you know, one day if you were not feeling it, like you were saying, the kids are, you know, tearing our hair out, then we can do just a 15-20 minute check-in at the end of the day. But, you know, if you've had a day and you're just like, you focused, and, you know, you might spend 3, 4, 5 hours. Like, some days I've just on a roll, and I'll go until the early hours in the morning just because I'm feeling it and I'm, you know, focused, and I just roll with it. And then other days I'll just spend, you know, minimal time just doing what I need to do to kind of keep it moving forward. So,
Awesome. Yeah, and I love that, right? And exactly, when creativity hits you and you're on a roll, then yeah, you have the flexibility to do that. And then on the days that, yep, you just need to check in, that's it. Yeah. Awesome, right? So, what would you say to somebody like you were kind of looking for something, maybe not specifically this, but if somebody is out there that's watching us today or will watch this on the replay, what would you tell them if they're looking for something and, you know, kind of tell them about this business? What would you say to them?
I would tell them that just to trust their instincts, because that's what I did. Ultimately, as soon as I saw an advertisement for this or whatever, I just knew that it was something a bit different. Pardon me again. I just knew it was something that little bit different. I could tell that there was real people behind it, and that there was real genuine I can't say it, genuinity. You know
Yeah.
the word I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Whatever that is. I could tell that there was that behind it. I could tell that there was some integrity as soon as I watched the webinar. I could tell that I wasn't being taken for a ride. I could tell it was real. And you know what? As I said, my husband's a police officer. So I straight away knew that this was perfect and exactly what I wanted. I wasn't skeptical really at all. I knew I had to look into it properly, but once I did, I wasn't skeptical at all. But I knew that I'd have to convince my husband. I knew that I would have to show him that I'd done my due diligence. I wasn't getting into a scam, that he wasn't going to have to give me warnings and, you know, slaps on the wrist and get another officer to, you know, grill me for anything. So, you know, I had to make sure for sure that it was a good business to be a part of. and that I wasn't going to waste my time and make him look silly or anything like that. So I did. I looked right into it, and that's what I encourage anyone that's watching to do, because the system it takes a little bit to explain, but that's why we don't do it ourselves, because we would get ourselves all wrapped around in circles. We'd confuse you, we'd confuse the system. But what we have for everyone is the webinar, and we have it all laid out for you in a way that people can understand. It takes them through certain steps so they can understand bit by bit by bit. And then if it really resonates with you, then you can find out the works. You really can, and it's all laid out for you in such a simple, easy way. And so that's what I tell people. I'm just like, just check it out, because the worst case scenario is that you've lost 90 minutes of your life, or not even that if you don't listen to the testimonials at the end, which I loved. They were the best part. But if you just watch the information, that's the worst thing, is that you'll lose a little bit of your life. But the best case scenario is you found a business that really resonates with you, that is workable with your lifestyle, that can really benefit you and your family and your lifestyle in the future. And so given the choices, I know what I'd do. I would just give up that, hour to 90 minutes and make sure.
Exactly. No, I love that.
Until
Exactly. I love that so much. And really, even if you think for some reason this isn't for you, this opportunity, this system isn't for you, that webinar though, that 90 minutes, you learn so much just about the online world, the online space, and conducting business online. So I think even if you don't end up and say, yeah, no, it's not for me, like you're still learning something. Right? Like, don't you find
For
that?
sure.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And yeah, as you said, there's no risk, right? It's
Just a bit
complimentary.
of time.
Yep, exactly. So, and that's what I did too, right? Like when I watched and I actually got the information, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like a gold mine. Like this is amazing how it's set up. The businesses that we, work with, like it's amazing. So I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm sure you're grateful for this business as well. And our,
Absolutely.
yep, and our lives have definitely been changed for the better, right?
I remember saying, how does everyone not know about this already? Like, how is this not advertised? Well, I guess it is advertised everywhere now, but how is it not like global news? Like, it's such a neat system. Like,
Exactly.
it's one of those, you almost want to shake people and be like, just watch it.
Like it's so good. Why? Yeah.
Exactly. How can you
It's
see my excitement?
it's so true though. But you kind of touched on this earlier though. Like the best part of it is the integrity that like everybody has. Like everybody is just so willing to help each other and it's so positive and it's just such an amazing community to be a part of. And I think going into the business, I wasn't really necessarily looking for that or expecting that, but to have that as like icing on the cake.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
thick, delicious icing too. I have made such an amazing connections with this community. I didn't think, I thought maybe the mentor would give me a little bit of time to get started and then I'd be on my own. But it's not like that at all. Like I'll be 3 years at the end of this year since I started. And in that time, I still have people like checking in and making sure, and like I know how it works now, but there's still so much assistance there, every step of the way. And for the people that I'm mentoring, like I'm still mentoring them and I'm still checking in and making sure. And so that's what's something I didn't expect it went to that level, and our training is it's still ongoing. Every single week we get, so many gold nuggets and so much information to help us build our businesses. And I don't think there is any system out there that's built the way this is and as supportive as this is at all.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Well, Sheree, thank you so, so much. This has been
No
such a
worries.
pleasure chatting with you and getting to know you better. And yeah, I know it's late and you're probably tired. I know you're coughing a little bit, so you're not quite at
Yeah,
100% yet. So I'm so
getting
grateful that
there.
you gave us your time today to share your story. Is there
Thank
any other
you.
last words that you would like to tell our viewers?
Oh, that's pressure. I don't know. Just sign up. Just come and join us because there's no better place to be, honestly. Um, Actually, one thing I will say, we all know that the last year and a half has been tough, like tough.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know where I would be without this business because being not only a stay-at-home mum but a stay-in-home mum was tough. We have brutally long winters up here, and it's lonely at times. Like it doesn't matter how much the kids chat, that doesn't make it. That's not company that helps with our mental
Yeah.
health all the time. So, I having people that I could just connect to, each night I was reaching out to people just for my sanity, really, just to make sure I was still able to converse with adults because my husband was busy working a lot of the time. And they really pulled me through that time in a really positive way. So, and I know that so many other moms doing this business felt the same, that
Yeah.
they really appreciated this business. And it goes so far, like the financial side is incredible. The commission side, the financial side is incredible. But aside from that, there is just so many other benefits that we face and see every day.
Exactly. And I think all those other benefits are priceless.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
Yeah.
it sounds cliche, but it's so true.
Yeah.
It's really true. Like
Kind of a
I am,
lifestyle.
yeah,
Not just
yeah.
a
And
business, it's kind of a lifestyle and it's a
yeah,
beautiful one.
it is definitely. Thank you so much. I think we'll end it with that because that's beautiful. I couldn't have said it better myself. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight's interview. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your evening, the rest of your week. Thank you again, Sheree, for coming on with us
You're
today
welcome.
and sharing your story. All right, guys, have a wonderful evening. Bye now.
Bye.